In this video, we're going to learn how to give warnings in English. You already know look out or watch out as a warning in English, but native speakers also use expressions to give warnings or weaker warnings that are not an immediate danger. In this video, we'll look at strong warnings. We will look at warnings of an unpleasant experience. We will look at threats, which are also warnings. And we will look at expressions of weaker warnings that you would hear in some ordinary situations, as well as the pronunciation and the social situations you would use them in. That will be at the end of the video. All right, let's get right to it. First one is the most important one, and you know it, and that's why you know it, because you learn these first. It's for immediate danger. Look out, watch out, be careful. It's a warning to tell someone to be careful right now. This is a very strong warning. Here are a couple of examples. Look out, you're going to hit that cyclist. Watch out, you're going to hit that cyclist. Like, stop right now, you're about to hurt that person. It's an immediate warning. This next one is also immediate danger, but not as dangerous as maybe hitting someone with a car. So your tone will reflect that. Instead of saying be careful like that, like you would say be careful, there's water on the floor. You might slip and fall. The next one is explicit warnings. These are warnings you give to prepare someone for an unpleasant experience. And you use the words, I'm warning you, which is a threat. So you hear it in the tone of your voice. I'm warning you. I'm warning you. Or a friendlier warning of an unpleasant experience would be, I must warn you. You can hear the tone difference. I'm warning you. I must warn you. So I must warn you is softer. Let's look at a social situation where you would use this type of expression. I'm warning you of a unpleasant experience to come. So, visiting a friend's house that is undergoing renovations, and the friend warns you that it might get noisy and unpleasant. That friend would say, I must warn you, it gets loud in here sometimes. We're renovating in our kitchen. So, I must warn you, just a friendly reminder. Here's another social example. Growing up, I fought a lot with my little brother. He would do everything on purpose to annoy me, and eventually I would blow up. But I always warned him first. This is a true story. I'm warning you, if you don't stop that, I will hit you. I'm warning you. So it's a warning, and it's a little more powerful in your tone because you're going to hit them. You're so mad at your brother. Now let's look at some weaker warnings. These are called indirect warnings. So there is no immediate danger, but you should pay attention because there is still danger. There are consequences to your behaviors. So an expression that's very popular would be, you'd better not. A social situation using a weaker warning would be a doctor warns you that if you keep eating too much sugar, you might develop diabetes. And so a popular expression for weaker warnings is, I wouldn't do that if I were you. This is the second popular expression I've introduced. I wouldn't keep eating sugar if I were you. You will increase your chances of getting diabetes. So you can see it's a weaker warning, but there are consequences. If you keep eating sugar, you might get diabetes. So native English speakers use expressions for weaker warnings. These indirect warnings have language functions. I've introduced two already to you. You'd better not, and I wouldn't do that if I were you. The third one is, I don't think you should do that. There are other ones too, but these three are pretty popular. So these can be like giving advice about what not to do. You should only give warnings like these to people you know. So this is informal language. Let's look at the pronunciation. With warnings, the pronunciation is clearly spoken and emphasized. There is minimal linking. The emphasis heightens the warning. In English, when we want to emphasize something, we speak slower, we stretch it out, and we make it more clear. So let me pronounce these three for you. You'd better not. You'd better not. I wouldn't do that if I were you. I wouldn't do that if I were you. I don't think you should do that. I don't think you should do that. That one's more like advice about what not to do. Okay, now let's look at a situation where you would give this kind of a weaker warning. You had 3 glasses of wine with your friends, and now you want to drive yourself home. Your friend says, "You'd better not drive home tonight. You've been drinking. Why don't I call you a taxi?" Or you could say, "I don't think you should drive home tonight." That one's softer. "I don't think you should drive home tonight." So the tone is important. If you want to really warn them, like, come on, you know better, or more like a suggestion that is a warning. Let's look at another situation. A guy you like asks you out on a date, but he is known to be a player and he may hurt you. A player is he likes lots of women. He's a womanizer, and so he may hurt you. Your friend would say, "I wouldn't go on a date with him if I were you. He's only going to cheat on you and break your heart." Or, "I don't think you should date him. He's a player." Let's look at one last situation where you would give a weaker warning using a language expression native English speakers use. The situation is you want to lose weight, but you are eating cookies. And your friend would say, "I don't think you should eat those cookies if you want to lose weight." "You'd better not eat those cookies if you want to lose weight." "I wouldn't eat those cookies if I were you." You want to lose weight. Why not practice these language functions on how to give a warning with your friend? Have fun.